The night my wife asked for an open marriage, she said it was about growth. That was the word she used. Growth. What she really meant, I didn't understand until it was far too late. I'm Daniel. I'm 34. I used to believe my marriage was solid. Not perfect, no marriage is, but steady. Safe. We had routines. Sunday morning coffee. Friday takeout. Inside jokes that didn't make sense to anyone else. Then one evening, Emily sat across from me at our kitchen table, fingers wrapped around a mug she wasn't drinking from. I think we should consider an open relationship. At first, I laughed. I genuinely thought she was joking. She wasn't. She said she felt restricted. Said love didn't have to be possessive. Said modern couples evolve. I remember the way my chest tightened. The way the room felt smaller. I asked her the question that was already screaming in my head. Is there someone else? She looked away for half a second too long. No, she said. This is about freedom. But freedom doesn't enter a marriage out of nowhere. It comes knocking because someone already opened the door. For weeks, we argued. I told her I wasn't comfortable. She told me I was insecure. She said if I loved her, I would trust her. Eventually, exhausted and afraid of losing her, I agreed. That was my first mistake. She downloaded dating apps that same night. Not a week later. Not slowly. Immediately. That was my second mistake, pretending I didn't notice. At first, she acted casual about it. She'd meet friends. Stay out later. Smile at her phone in ways she hadn't smiled at me in months. I tried to play along. I even went on one date myself. It felt empty. Forced. I didn't want other women. I wanted my wife. Then one evening, I came home early from work. Her car was in the driveway. So was another one I didn't recognize. I didn't yell. I didn't break anything. I just stood there, staring at that unfamiliar car, and something inside me went cold. When she came downstairs 20 minutes later, she didn't look surprised to see me. She looked guilty. And that's when she admitted it. The open relationship hadn't been an idea. It had been an excuse. She had already been seeing him for 3 months before she ever brought up growth. The open marriage was just her way of rewriting the timeline so she wouldn't technically be cheating. That night, something broke between us. I moved into the guest room. We barely spoke unless it was logistics. Bills. Groceries. Who was picking up dry cleaning. But here's what she didn't expect. I stopped chasing her. I stopped asking where she was. I stopped caring. And that's when the shift happened. A few weeks later, she came home crying. He had ghosted her. The man she thought was exciting and different had apparently never wanted a relationship. Once the thrill faded, so did he. She sat on the edge of our bed, my bed now, and said she'd made a mistake. I thought I wanted freedom, she whispered. But I just wanted attention. I didn't yell. I didn't comfort her either. I just asked one question. Was it worth it? She couldn't answer. The strangest part. That was the moment I finally felt calm. Not angry. Not devastated. Free. Because the woman I had been fighting to keep wasn't the woman sitting in front of me. She wasn't strong. She wasn't brave. She wasn't evolving. She was scared of aging. Scared of routine. Scared of being ordinary. And she used open marriage as a shield to justify betrayal. Over the next month, something unexpected happened. I started focusing on myself. Gym. Therapy. New hobbies. I reconnected with friends I had drifted away from. I laughed again. Emily noticed. And for the first time since this nightmare began, she looked at me the way she used to. Jealous. One night, she asked if we could close the relationship. She said she wanted us. Only us. She said she regretted everything. But here's the twist she never saw coming. I had met someone. Not through an app. Not through revenge. Through life. Her name was Claire. She wasn't dramatic. She wasn't chasing excitement. She valued loyalty. We started as friends. Slowly. carefully. And for the first time in a long time, I felt chosen, not compared. When I told Emily I wanted a divorce, she broke down. "You're throwing us away," she cried. But I wasn't. She had thrown us away the night she asked for permission to justify what she'd already done. This wasn't revenge. This was consequence. Now here's the part that might surprise you. 6 months after the divorce, Emily texted me. Not to reconcile. To apologize. She said losing our marriage forced her to confront why she self-sabotaged something stable. She admitted she confused boredom with unhappiness. Validation with love. She said the open relationship didn't ruin our marriage. Her dishonesty did. And for the first time, I believed she understood. But here's the final twist. I don't hate her. I'm grateful. Because the moment she tried to open our marriage, she unknowingly opened a door for me too. Not to other people. To myself. I learned that love without respect isn't love. That boundaries aren't insecurity. And that sometimes the person who regrets it the most isn't the one who walks away. It's the one who realizes too late what they destroyed. If you're watching this and someone tries to convince you that betrayal is growth, remember this. Growth doesn't start with secrets. And freedom shouldn't cost your integrity. Sometimes the biggest glow-up isn't proving your worth to someone who hurt you. It's realizing you never had to. And that was the lesson my wife learned. After it was already too late. But the story didn't end there. A year after everything fell apart, I ran into Emily at a mutual friend's birthday party. I almost didn't recognize her. Not because she looked different, she was still beautiful, but because the confidence she used to wear like armor was gone. She looked humbled. We made small talk at first. Safe topics. Work. The weather. Friends we both still shared. Claire was out of town visiting her parents, and for a brief second, I felt nervous mentioning her name. But I did. And Emily nodded slowly. "I'm glad you found someone who values you," she said. There was no bitterness in her voice. Just quiet regret. Then she told me something I didn't expect. After our divorce, she tried the open lifestyle again. She thought maybe it just hadn't worked with me. Maybe she needed someone more modern. More detached. But every connection felt shallow. Temporary. Transactional. "Turns out," she admitted with a sad smile, "I'm not built for casual." The irony almost made me laugh. She had burned down a house she loved because she thought the grass was greener somewhere else, only to realize she preferred stability all along. "Before we left," she said one last thing. "You were the only man who ever truly chose me. And I didn't know how to handle that." That sentence stayed with me. Because sometimes people sabotage love not because they don't want it, but because they don't feel worthy of it. I drove home that night not angry, not nostalgic, just certain. Certain that walking away had been the right choice. And certain that closure doesn't always come from winning. Sometimes it comes from watching someone finally understand the lesson you learned first.